everyone, and welcome back to another episode in our lovely series, Voicing Artists' Original Characters. Now, we are back once again, but we are back with a special guest star. It is myself and the lovely Tabetha McNeal with us today. Tabetha, will you introduce yourself to the people, please?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Tabetha McNeal. I'm an actress and voice actor, and you've probably heard me in a couple of things, but you most know me from Hard Tale 2, Samantha. I play the amazing Samantha trying to free you from a kidnapper. You've probably also heard me in a couple of Sunwing Airline commercials, so if you're looking for a vacation, go to Sunwing Airlines. Oh, and you probably heard me in the best, the coolest comic book dub, the original comic book dub of I Hope So, and I play Storm.
Awesome. Also, we should probably say this is not sponsored by Sunwing Airlines.
Right.
That was a lovely introduction. Thank you very much. So we've got two characters to work with, one that I will be portraying and one that Tabetha will be portraying. But we're going to make this a collaborative effort. We're very much going to be influencing each other in the ideas that we have and ways that we could portray this character differently, because one of the great things about acting is that it is essentially a team sport. The more people you let engage in your creative process, the smarter that process then becomes, because you're able to create a fully developed character with input from everyone else and not just your brain. Especially if you get stuck on something or if you find yourself being repetitive, it's good to let those outside ears and eyes in. So today we're gonna do that, and I am very excited. So, we'll get started with this first character here today. Our artist's name today is Itataminn. The character they created for us, her name is Liesel. Now, this character has a little bit of a universe, a little bit of a history. They are an orphan. They are a hybrid species, and they were shunned from their group because of their albinism. They were eventually adopted and employed by what is known as the butterfly exile in this universe. And they were employed as a bodyguard to protect this species and also as a bartender for this species. You can see a little bit of the butterfly exile with one of the images we have there. It's very interesting looking. I'm not sure of the size. It almost looks as if that butterfly exile is sitting on top of her hat or her head. So maybe they are the size of butterflies, but those are the people that employ Liesel here. So that's an interesting look to get to see one of those extra characters. Now, another note that the artist gave me about Liesel is that Liesel is constantly searching for answers in the universe about connections. So things like love, things like heartaches, connecting with other people, whether romantically or platonically or familial, all of those sorts of connections to people and to nature and to things are items that Liesel is striving for. And so she takes her job as a bartender very seriously because it allows her this communication and this interaction with all different types of people and learn these connections that they have with each other and that they can make with her as well. So those are some notes from the artist. Now, I don't have any personality trait notes from the artist at all. So that's going to be fun because it means we can take this universe and this history and then play with it and create our own character traits. So you'll see a few drawings of Liesel pass the screen here. One of her looking straight at the camera or straight at the audience. One of her in this beautifully lit sky in the background and kind of like a dark sunrise mixture. And then one with her doing many variations of different poses. They look like fighting stances to some extent. So, I will give you what I perceive from some of these images, and then I will have Tabetha give her input so that we can have this beautiful creative process here. For me personally, some adjectives that I would use would be mysterious, curious. I think she would be very discreet, especially in the position that she's in. She's, of course, very strong because she's employed as a bodyguard for protection, but I think she's also strong mentally. She probably has a very strong barrier to people trying to manipulate her emotions. She's powerful, and some words in particular that I think are going to be very important to play with. I really like the word observant because her job as a bartender allows her to almost people watch for what she does. She has to be very careful of who can come into contact, especially since she's a bodyguard. She needs to be observant of people in the era of, are they dangerous? Are they trying to manipulate someone? Are they trying to get more out of the butterfly exile? Are they trying to hurt them? Or are they just common, casual, everyday people? Do they understand that she's in this position of bodyguard, or do they just see her as a bartender? They just see her as staff. I think observant and watchful is very important because that lets us know that when we create dialogue and when we play with Liesel here, we want to make sure we're not the type of person who speaks or who acts before we think, because her being in this mindset and using these adjectives means that she is always, always, always going to be the person with the information that makes a judgment call based off of information that she has learned by watching all these people, versus just being like, well, I got an energy or I sensed their vibe. No, she's going to know because she's been watching. So I think we want to keep that in mind. The other adjectives, I really like disciplined, because in order to be doing all those poses that she has in that fight scene image, and in order to be the position that she's in of a protector, you have to be disciplined. You have to be very consistent in how you work and making sure that you're doing it to the best of your ability and you're honing your skills. So that could be very important to us in the way that her mind works. And of course, I think she's dangerous. The way that she appears doesn't come off as dangerous, especially in like the one where she's sort of looking to the audience. It's almost like a, oh, how pretty, like, I wonder what she's about. Ooh, no, this girl can kick your ass. And I think we need to be mindful of that fact, especially when we go into angry, because she might need to kick somebody's ass. And we want to make sure we have that intensity behind it, but also sort of the confidence and the wisdom behind the fact that not only does she know your every waking move and the way that you think, but she can also take you in a fight. So there's almost no standing up to her at all. Tabetha, what are your thoughts about these images we have for Liesel?
I think she's like mysterious a little bit, just because of kind of maybe the hood. It kind of reminds me of like a, a nicer Catwoman type situation where it's like, I'm still gonna kick your butt, but I'm also gonna like maybe check on you in the hospital to make sure you're all right. But I think she's super pretty. I just love kind of like this orphan backstory. It's kind of like a good origin story. And to kind of work as a bartender, that's like, I have to talk to people. You have to know about people's worlds. And to see that in her character of like, I have to know everything about you so I can like punch you in the face. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. You mentioned that. I love the idea of her being a bartender being mixed in with almost like she doesn't get a choice. She sort of needs to know everything in order to make sure that she's always at the top of her game.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
Thank you. Is there any other commentary that you want to make before we go into voices?
Sure. I love how you said like she's dangerous, but there is this kind of mysterious dangerous, like it's like you're serving me my drink or you're trying to protect me, but there's like, could you double cross me at the same time, like serving me a drink? Like imagine just being at the bar with her and she's like super nice and whatever, and then, oh yeah, you're my target for the day. I think that is just so creepy.
That's so cool. I never even thought about that. Oh my god. Yeah, like her target comes into the bar. Oh my god. I love that idea that like you think she's wonderful and super nice and everybody around you would think the same thing. They'd be like, yeah, that's Liesel. She's great. We love her. She's awesome. And then you're the bad guy and whoops. Like,
right.
Okay, so now we have beautiful input from both of our ideas about Liesel and who she is as a character. Let's see if we can build a neutral line here. Now, I'm thinking because she's more of an observer, a watcher, and because she's really disciplined and strong since she's a bodyguard, I want to give sort of that lower vocal tone. I want to give sort of more of a tone of someone who doesn't necessarily speak a lot, someone who's very thoughtful in their answers, and is very strong in their body positioning. When you're that well built, when you're that well disciplined, especially in fighting or in some sort of sport or activity that involves physical energy like that, and you are disciplined and you're learning specific techniques, you tend to ground yourself more than other people. And you might be thinking, well, we're doing voiceover work. Why does it matter how she carries herself? It matters a lot because your voice can change based on how your body is positioned when you do voices and when you do energy. So when I go into Liesel, I want to take in mind the fact that she has this experience and she's trained in some sort of skill. So I think she's going to ground herself and she's going to put a lot of her weight into her hips and into her legs. And so since we're so stable down there, it's going to transition up into our upper half as well, to where we're not someone who's fluid, we're not really moving chaotically, we're not moving like water, we're doing more of like an earth thing. We're very stable, we're very dominant, and so I want to bring that into the voice as well, where I don't want her voice to fluctuate a lot. I want it to be kind of low, and I want it to be very consistent, and I want it to be very specific, so we keep that groundedness in her. So all of that said, let's see if we can give it a shot here. Hello. What can I get for you? Of course. Right away. Ooh! Okay! I'm kind of down for that. I like how, like, very short and succinct it is. I like that it's a little bit lower in my voice range. Still a little soft because she's very pretty. And Tabetha, you noted that. I like the fact that she can be a little bit more feminine and include those traits that we associate with feminism and femininity, like softness. And I want to kind of keep that in the voice while also keeping her very strong. What do you think, Tabetha?
I thought it was really great. I think that's how Lisa would actually talk at the bar that she's working at. It's kind of like, I could be, kicking butt, but I'm here because, I have to not tell a bunch of people that I'm a bodyguard. So it's kind of like, this is kind of my, 9 to 5 neutral jargon of like, yeah, here you go. Here's your stuff. But it's also this mysterious of like, is this the person she's about to beat up? Like, I love it.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, now we're going to go into the emotions with Liesel. So we'll start with happy. Do you have any ideas for what we should incorporate with this happy line?
Maybe of her, like, actually getting a kill before she has to, like, go to work.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Wait, yes, like she just finished a shift of being a badass and now she puts on her suit and goes to be a bartender.
Right.
Okay, cool. So let's see if we can throw that in there. And I think I agree with you as well. I think that's a good scenario because I think something that makes her happy is probably getting to be that protector of these people who like saved her. So I think the fact that she's able to keep them safe and to honor them in that way for what they did for her would make her very satisfied. I think that's a good thing to throw into our happy as well. I always love to mix other adjectives and other emotions into our main one. So I think a satisfied happy is something to go with. Maybe a little bit of pride, but like the good kind of pride, not the egotistical, more of like I do a good job so that the people that I watch are safe. Well, cool. Then let's see what we can do with happy here. The job is completed, Master. Thank you. You have done much for me. It makes me happy that I can do even this small task for you. You have given me everything, and I will give my everything to you. Yeah, I like it!
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I kind of like that. I like the idea of her putting her heart and soul into working for these other people who see her for who she is and accept her for who she is and give her like a purpose. I really like that. What would make Liesel angry?
Losing their cape?
Oh, like a gloves come off kind of scenario.
It's kind of like, this is my mask that I go and like protect people with, but maybe at like the bar she's like a regular, like, like a 9 to 5 kind of like work suit type of thing. And then it's like, but without this hood, I can't put on the mask of being a bodyguard or something.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. She does also have the little gloves in those fighting poses too. I love the idea that it's almost like her, exactly like you said, her cape and cowl.
Yeah.
For like when she goes out and gets to do sort of that work. I really like that idea. Okay, so let's put her in an angry scenario where essentially, for lack of a better phrase, the gloves are coming off, the earrings are coming out.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. And she's about to be like, okay, this is a serious enemy. I can normally fight people that are lower and I don't have to worry about things. But for whatever reason, this enemy is like very clearly a threat. And so she has to like take off whatever's happening, or maybe it comes off in the fight, whatever the case may be. And she's getting ready to actually kick ass, and or needs to step up her game because the person across from her is doing really well. So especially if she's fighting someone who seems to be more on her level, or even could possibly be above her level, and she's angry because she's trying to do her best to like protect these other people, I think that might happen because maybe she either has a lack of information about them, or the information that she got from her position of being watchful, of being an observer, was incorrect. And that person knew that they were being watched and knew that they were being observed, and sort of like put on a front to specifically deceive her so that she'd then have the wrong impression or the wrong information, and that villain would be able to defeat her.
I love it.
Yeah, so I think if we play into that, we can get into a really angry stance, and I think it'll let us put more heroic emotions into angry as well, because sometimes angry can be difficult to do without feeling like we are the bad guy, because anger is one of those emotions where a lot of things get said that you feel bad about, or the emotion that you have with it feels like hate, and sometimes hate is really difficult for hero characters. So I think if we throw things into it with this scenario, we can make it feel a little more heroic. So if we take that this is the scenario, the person has deceived her so that she has the wrong information, and they have bested, not fully, but to some extent, her capabilities to the point where she like needs to put her all in, this is do or die type of moment. I think if we throw in a bit of that protection energy, almost a bit of like a guardian or a mentor energy, because those characters tend to have the conceptual thought behind them of, I will give my life in order to protect this character that I am mentoring or raising. So she's not mentoring or raising anyone, but she is putting her all and her life on the line for another group, the Butterfly Exile. So I think the emotions that would come from that are very similar. So if we put that into anger, where it's not just, oh, I hate you. In fact, it might not even have any hate at all. It's more, I'm angry almost at myself because I should have known better. It is her job to know better. It is her job to be watchful. It is her job to know all these things, to be able to protect these people that she's protecting. And she's almost letting down this group that she has sworn to protect, that she wakes up every day and says, nothing will happen to you, I promise. And now something is happening, and she's being bested, and she's facing a real threat of, I might not be enough, and I should have been enough. So I think that type of anger towards herself is going to be really fun and cool to play with. So I think we should give that a shot for the angry line.
I really like that. And I love, again, like the backstory of her being kind of like an orphan. So it's kind of like I've been disbanded by my own people. And now the only people I can look out for is everyone else.
Yes, that's a beautiful way of saying that. Oh my God, thank you.
No problem.
All right, so let's run with this angry line then. Let's see what we can do. I see that you have bested me. In one way or another, you have deceived me. But it does not matter. You will not harm the Butterfly Exile. You will not touch them. I have given my life. I have sworn an oath. You will have to kill me before you pass, and you may do that, but I will make sure to give you one hell of a fight. Yeah! What do we think, Tabetha?
I likes that one a lot.
Yeah, I really loved that idea of her being like beaten by someone. I think that's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives me if you've ever seen Kame ga Kill.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Spoilers, of course. The big beefy character where the main kid eventually gets his armor because the big beefy guy dies, right?
Yeah, I cried.
Yes! Thank you! That's the energy that she gives me in her anger. Is like, I am the good guy, and I'm mad at myself for the fact that you're about to kill me, even though I swore I would protect this child until the day I fucking die. But at the very least, I am gonna make sure that you are gonna be damaged before I leave.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. All right, and the last one we're gonna go into is sad here. So, what do we think would make Liesel sad?
Ooh, probably seeing like maybe another orphan being dropped off.
Yes.
Maybe she's never met someone that was like her, and now it's like, oh, like the cycle is happening again.
I love that. Oh my goodness. I mean, I hate that in context, but I
Yeah.
love that idea. And it ties into like her childhood, ties into her insecurities. I really, really love that concept. We're going to run full throttle with that.
Cool.
Yes, because I think it's an incredible way to sort of poke into a trauma that she probably doesn't deal with very often. I think especially this character that we've established of more of like the hero protector guard, she may have been upset that her original group shunned her and that the butterfly exile took her in may have been seen as sort of a savior and sort of someone, a debt that she owes and needs to pay. But because of that mentality, I think she would never have dealt with the actual pain that comes from being torn apart and being told that you're worthless and that nobody wants you and thrown into this position of, okay, we saved you, now you need to save us. And that's your only purpose for the rest of your life, you know? So I really like that idea.
Yay.
So, okay, I'm going to play with that. Let's say exactly like you said, maybe she's working as a bartender, maybe she's working protection at whatever the point may be, not super relevant, but she notices that there is another orphan, whether it's the same kind as her or someone else, whatever. She notices that there is another orphan, another kid that is going through some sort of situation where they're being exiled, they're being shunned, and it sort of hits home and it reaches that point of, I went through that trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go for that. Here we go. I know my purpose is to protect the butterfly exile. Sometimes I wonder if that was all I was ever meant to do. I see these kids going through what I went through, and I haven't done a damn thing to stop it. I've served drinks. What am I? What am I if I can't protect them? Okay, dope.
Yeah, that was lit. I was like, yeah, this sounds like an anime.
I love it. Oh my god. That was such a good suggestion.
No problem. I literally hear like the anime music and like her bursting out of like a tower. Like, this is it. This is a new show, guys. Funimation, we're coming. We're coming for you.
Oh my goodness. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so that is the entirety of us working with Liesel. Thank you for joining me in that process. That was so much fun to have another person to play off of and to get inspiration from and ideas. So thank you, Tabetha.
No problem.
We're going to move on to Tabetha's character. So, Tabetha, why don't you introduce us a little bit to this character?
Yeah. So the artist's name is Miren. Their pronouns are they, them. And their character's name is Megalyn. Sounds pretty cool, right? Love that name. And the universe and history about Megalyn is that they are like half demon, half fairy, which is kind of like half good, half evil, which is like the shoulder on your kind of like left and right kind of talking to you, but imagine that as a person. I love it. Their personality traits are kind of like flirty, jokey, kind of rarely serious, which is so interesting about like a demon and a fairy, right? You consider like a demon to be like horrible and mean, but the serious part, it's like rarely serious, meaning if it is serious, then it must be like super crazy serious. But if it's not, we have like this flirtatious kind of jokey fairy demon who's like probably interested in everyone. Which I thought was so cool. But these are kind of the things that I perceived from Megalyn when I saw the character. I thought that they were like super strong. Like just a strong character, that they were witty, like daring, playful because of kind of like that flirtatious and jokey kind of thing. I feel like Megalyn tells the best jokes about anything, and they're probably like a little corny too, just because it's like I'm trying to flirt with you, but like I'm not serious about it. I don't know. The rarely serious kind of plays so much into being like flirty and jokey. It's like I'm never going to be serious with you, and all I do is like it's just want to flirt with you, and that's it. Like it's never going to get serious because I'm never serious, so I'm just here for like a good time. And then with the flirtatious, I thought there was like a little bit of like tenderness the way that I perceived Megalyn, because I think that just such a beautiful character, and there's always certain like things when you see a picture and it's like, oh, the smile, this little kind of maybe the way the person's like body shape is. I'm like, oh, there's like a little like tender moment there. Aww. It's like I'm super flirtatious, I'm jokey, but I actually may care a lot about what I say to you. So I thought that was like a little tender moment.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I think of Megalyn.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. I really like the tenderness word especially because I think in this gorgeous art piece drawing we've got of Megalyn like caressing some other characters, some beautiful woman down here in the clouds, there is so much tenderness. Exactly like you said, she appears so gentle. And that's really in contrast with the idea that we have of what a demon would be or a half demon would be. So I love the idea that it's almost these two contrasting entities of like flirty and jokey and sarcasm with another side that's like genuinely cares and very loving and very are you okay type of person.
Yeah, it's kind of like living in both worlds at the same time. It's like a battle how I see Megalyn. It's kind of like they are trying to see which side is better for them, but they're born this way. It reminded me a little bit of like a Devil May Cry, where it's like obviously Dante is actually kind of like a good character kind of, but yet it's like you're a demon. Like it like flips it on its head that I care and I'm flirtatious and that I'm tender. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I think those are great words to use here. I think it describes Megalyn really, really well.
Awesome. So this is how I think Megalyn would sound like pretty neutral. Maybe they're talking to a friend about really kind of finding out their history, that they are this half demon, half fairy. So let's try that. So I'm a demon? I mean, that's cute. Like I'm hot? Yeah. And I'm a fairy? That means I'm like pretty? Wait, so that means I'm like pretty hot, right?
That was awesome. I adore that. I was not expecting it. I may be the dumbest person alive because when you said that means I'm pretty hot, like it was the corniest, most dad joke thing I had ever heard.
That's literally what I feel like Megalyn is. It's just like, I say really weird dad jokes, which is why I could never be serious because it's like, all right, girl, like that's horrible. Walk away.
I was not expecting it. I must be crazy because you started saying like, oh, I'm hot. And I was like, yeah, that's like demon energy. And then you're like, I'm pretty. And I was like, okay, the fairy. And then you made the joke and I was like, oh my God. I love that for Megalyn. I think you encaptured her flirty funniness in such a beautiful way because you even ran with the idea of like this could be her having a conversation about figuring out her history and who she is and the fact that she's half demon and half fairy. But the way that this character deals or copes with learning this history and knowing these things is through jokes, is through being funny.
Yeah, because it's like the rarely serious part of it is even in the bad situations, I'm not taking it seriously. It's like a joke. And so imagine finding out that you're just this half-breed situation and it's like, I can't really do anything about it, but like, at least I'm pretty hot. Like, okay.
Yes, I love that so much. That was awesome.
Yeah, let's move on to happy. I think that Megalyn is super happy when maybe a friend is like on a date, and I feel like Megalyn is that person that sits behind the date and it's like, this is what you should say.
Oh my god.
And like helping them out with the date. So let's try that. Yeah, tell him that he smells good. Oh, he's a demon? No, yeah, they don't stink. I promise. I'm one of them. Okay, here's what you say. He smells good and you would like to burn in a fire with him in the sauna. I mean, who doesn't like saunas? You're a fairy. I mean, sometimes you gotta sweat off the sparkles. And then give them to me so I can use them for myself. But like, sweat it off, girl. Okay, go talk to them. Tell them if they're hot. Okay, good job.
Oh my god. Sweat off the sparkles.
I'm thinking of Tinkerbell. I'm like, the sparkles?
Oh my god, that's the best line I've ever heard is sweat off the sparkles. I love that. I love her chaotic energy, and it's so much fun because it's a good way of making her like a hero, but still being chaotic and all over the place and still being helpful. At least she's trying to be helpful, you know?
Yeah, I think like Megalyn is put in such a weird situation where again, it's like this both worlds thing where it's like, oh great, like I'm pretty and I get to do all these other things and I have sparkles and all this stuff, but yet I still have this like weird obligation that I'm a demon and I'm like trying to set you up with my other demon friends. And it's like, yeah, just tell them that they're hot. Like that's all we really want is like to hear that. But I think that's cool of being like, yeah, like just take them to a sauna. That's enough for them. Like they just want to be like more hot. So I think that's cool.
Oh, I love that. That was fabulous. Okay, so we're gonna move on to angry, which I feel like is gonna be a lot of fun because you might be able to go pure rage mode.
Yeah.
Of just like demons, we have this association with when they're angry, they get angry. So I think it'd be really fun to go crazy angry with it. Like she's just gonna total someone, total vehicles, total people, just destroy everything like she's the Hulk. That would be my thought process. But what kind of scenario do you think she'd be in if she was gonna do that?
I think what would make Megalyn angry, I immediately went to like maybe Megalyn was like on a mission where again I'm still this kind of like demon, so I'm gonna go like destroy a town.
Right.
But then because maybe I work for like a fairy organization, there's still some sort of like tenderness and good with me. And so here I am like destroying a town and then I get a phone call from them and I like literally just change my voice and they're like, what are you doing? Oh, nothing. I'm just on a stroll in the town. Oh yeah, I'll clean this up. Like it's her like, I still have to destroy the world, but like I'll clean it. I'll recycle it. I'll like whatever.
Oh my god. Okay. So you're gonna play into like the town destroying all that kind of, because I guess why would she be destroying a town? Maybe it's like are we thinking maybe she works for a good organization and maybe this is like, I don't know, the villain's camp or something like that? What are we thinking?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, dope. Well, I think play with it as much as you want. Maybe start angry and do the destruction, and then you can end it with the phone call where you're like,
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yes, I love that idea. Oh my goodness, you've got it down.
Cool.
Whenever you're ready, go for it.
Ugh, who even orders a coffee this early in the morning? I hate this job! Hello? Oh, this was your order. He'll just be a minute.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
That was good. I think it started with the anger, which was really good. And I love the phone call idea of, like, you pick it up and you're like, oh.
It's like, I'm trying to be horrible, but, like, can you not call me on my word? I don't know, I just feel like that's, like, Megalin's life. It's just, like, chaotic hate, but also, oh, I also have to be a good person and, like, still go get you guys things.
That was lovely. I love that she still has that crazy energy. Even when she's pure raging, she switches so fast back. She's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
That's awesome. Okay, that's all I have for that. Do you want to move to sad?
Yeah, let's move to sad.
Okay, so what could cause Megalyn to be truly and deeply sad?
I think Megalyn would be sad if they didn't get into the fairy school because it's a part of them. And maybe Megalyn is kind of maybe a little bit interested in kind of being good, or maybe she's like rejected from both. And now it's like, what else do I do? I'm not evil enough for them, but I'm not even good enough for them either.
I really like that. I like the idea of her sadness being about who she is, and the idea that, exactly as you said, not evil enough for one and not good enough for the other, and where does that put her? And can she ever be truly accepted by either side? Does either side really want her? It's beautiful, but also it's heartbreaking to draw from that. I'm gonna let you run with that. I'm excited to see how you go into that.
Okay. I mean, I'm not even good enough for the fairies, and I'm not even evil enough for the demons. It's like, I'm a loaf of bread, and I'm talking about the ends. The ends of a bread. I'm just nothing, and no one wants me.
I like that. It was a good way to put in that funny and comedic character style.
Yeah.
And also being genuinely upset. I loved that. I think that was very good. You have such a way about doing characters that have this fun atmosphere to them, and it just makes everyone want to smile even when you're angry or sad or whatever the case may be. You're very, very good at them.
Thanks so much.
Well, how do you feel about it? Do you want to say anything about it?
I feel good. I feel like Megalyn's like an awesome character you would like, again, see like in an anime where it's just kind of like, I don't know who I am and nobody wants me, but you guys in this random group do, so I like you. And it's like an interesting origin story to know that you're not good enough for the people that kind of like birthed you. It's like the people that went together to have you cared, but like everyone else like thinks you're a horrible person, and yet you're nice and flirtatious and jokey, and you're never serious because you've been hurt like so much that the only thing you can do is joke. And I think that's interesting.
Yes, that's a beautiful way of saying that for her character. Oh my goodness. Well, cool. If that's the case, then that is it for our episode today. We have been able to play with Liesel, and we've been able to play with Megalyn. Thank you very much, Tabetha, for joining me on this episode. It has been incredible to have you here with me.
Yes, it has been incredible to be with you.
Awesome. Well, cool. Y'all should go follow the artists in the descriptions down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also, of course, go follow Tabetha McNeal. What are you doing? All right, my friends. That's all we gotta say, so we will see you next time. Goodbye!